Find them, Jason.
Go ahead and show us the skin you were talking about, because I think that's the best way we'll be able to show
the Savini Jason.
Yeah, because I know I don't have it because I was not a backer either myself.
Although since I was a fan, I probably should have, but I didn't have the cash at the moment. Financial mistakes and such like that.
Of course, everyone has those. It's just if we can show it, then let's go ahead and show it because
we're going to show them all the different Jason. Here's the Jason loading screen. That is part 3. When he first gets his hockey mask, he's just going to demolish this guy laying here.
So for anyone who doesn't know, this is the virtual cabin. It's basically like a giant museum. And I have already completed this, so a lot of the puzzles and stuff are already finished. But we're going to go down to the basement, and we're going to show you all the different Jasons that are in this game, actually. Yeah. So, and the one is, they are super dead. Jason was here anyways. So the Jasons in this game, they did, in my opinion, that's probably the best part of this game is that the fact that they were able to model Jason so well.
And the fact, here's some of the developers and such with some...
The backers as well, right?
Backers.
And then that's just paintings.
Some painting locations. It's basically a museum.
Of, developers and
Developers and all the
backers, Easter eggs. Stuff like that. It's actually really cool that they added something like this to a game that's...
that's not how you make dinner.
It's something that you don't usually do for a game. I personally have not seen a game do this before.
Take a museum of each Jason. Thank God I don't have to censor that. But there's a load. And that's first movie Jason. First movie Jason,
which, as far as I know, is basically... At least we've seen the movie, and I'm sure you've seen it many times. So it's basically like a dream scene or something like that, right?
Something like that, but people can't really tell in the movie if it really was a dream or she really got dragged under by Jason, which I think she did get dragged down by Jason.
Okay, so you believe that actually happened?
Yeah, here's part 2, Baghead Jason. You can go and pause the video and read that if you so wish.
Yeah.
Same with any of them. But where the hell is Paul?
I don't know what. Actually, out of curiosity, what's the reference there?
At the end of part 2, where Ginny is rescued by rescue ambulances, Ginny just yells, "Where's Paul? Where's Paul?" We don't know what the hell happened to Paul. It was at the end of a sequence where Jason was grabbing her from behind at a window, and Paul's just gone.
Oh, okay.
So where the hell's Paul?
So would you say? So out of curiosity, what's your favorite Jason? Would you say? Right, just so disregarding Savini Jason.
It's kind of hard to choose, really, because mostly my favorite movie was Part 4. Was my very first horror movie when I was 8 years old. Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just a kid watching a horror movie, and I have to say, it scared me. It did make me want to go into my basement for around 2 weeks because it scared the shit out of me.
So would you say in the game then would that still be your favorite Jason? In the game
I would have to say so because he's actually still a runner. He's got the nice little meat cleaver. I really like the mask design. He's got really good strength and weaknesses, but he was a free DLC that the developers of the game, they were really giving with free DLCs like free Jasons like this one. He came out 2 Halloweens ago. He was free. Luckily, I was already up the level 44 to unlock this Jason, so I could just play him immediately, and he did fantastically. But for the Switch, I still have to level up and unlock him. And
that's part 7, I believe, right?
Part 7, The New Blood, where he's all zombified. Well, I'm just a little curious. I know this is gonna make me look weird, but
yeah, no.
Yeah, he looks just really messed up.
Yeah. So any little, and then so let's go over to Savini Jason here. So because I don't have it, and a lot of people don't, you can go ahead and read that if you like. Pause the video, read that little text board. But basically, what it says is the special effects guy basically made up this skin for the game, and created this Jason, and
exclusively for the game.
Exclusively for the backers, not so much the game.
Oh yeah.
Because he is in the game. Yes, he's right here.
But he's the only Jason that actually exists in this game.
Yeah, and also it's just a skin for somebody who actually backed it.
But yeah, essentially, Jason literally fought Lucifer, stole his pitchfork. He probably kicked him in the dick and ran away. got out of hell. And if you can look closely on his mask, you can see the 3 slashes that Freddy Krueger himself has left on this Jason's mask since Freddy vs. Jason.
So is it assumed that that Freddy vs. Jason could lead into this Jason then?
Possibly.
Is there
But considering the way Freddy vs. Jason ended, we're never going to get a part 2 because, again, because of the lawsuit, we're not going to see a Freddy vs. Jason part 2. Although I'm not even sure if we could even see a part 2 because Robert Englund said he's got one good Freddy movie left in him, and with the lawsuit, we're not going to get any Friday the 13th until the thing is all sorted out.
Yeah, right.
Done.
So let's take a look over at Jason X there. So this guy's in the game. Like there's a little cutscene he can show you, but this guy you can't actually play it because it's like we were saying earlier about the lawsuit and stuff. This is the guy we can't play because of it.
Everything was ready to go. The Grendel map and this Jason, I don't know what level you'd have to be to unlock him. Say level 100, you could probably unlock him.
Yeah.
To play him, but until this lawsuit and everything is passed, we're not going to see Uber Jason. Probably never. But
yeah.
It'd be nice if we did get him. But if Victor Miller can actually see how dedicated these fans are to this franchise, he should look into his heart and say, you know what, I've been a dick. I should stop doing what I'm doing and just let anyone just use Friday the 13th. And continue the franchise.
Right, because, right now it's at a complete standstill, right?
Except for fan-made films, they can't be an average movie long, like an hour and a half or 2 hours. What I recall, if you're going to make a fan-made film, it has to be at least less than 50 minutes or 250 minutes.
Okay, so that's fair. And so you mentioned one earlier, and you can just continue walking around here showing us the Jasons if you like.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier though that there has been different films, like you said, the one there.
There's the one Never Hike Alone, and then there's one that's actually being made is The Fall of Camp Blood. I haven't read much into it. I've seen trailers for it. It's kind of like a kidnapping situation kind of movie. You just like with that movie with like Liam Neeson's daughter gets kidnapped. I don't know who you are. Taken. I will find you. I will catch you. I will kill you. But just throw Jason into that mix.
Okay. So he's supposed to be the villain in the movie,
there's some other villains, but I'm guessing Jason's just kind of like the anti-hero, or he's just thrown in there.
Oh, okay. So would you say that's kind of not the greatest then, I would say?
It's something I think would be new and good for the franchise to see. It is a fan-made film. It is getting made, and you can probably go. I don't know where the actual site is to backers for it, but I do watch some YouTubers. They do say, "Oh, it's being made. It's very close."
Okay.
But yeah, that's the Museum of Jason and a little bit of playthrough.
So, out of curiosity, before we leave the basement here, if you had to choose one of these guys to show up in real life, one of the Jasons, which one would it be?
Oh, no doubt, it would have to be Jason X.
Why is that? Why wouldn't it not be?
Because it's goddamn Kane Hodder, buffed up with all this black and metallic look. Like somebody could easily pull it off, just like get a regular hockey mask.
Well, isn't that a special mask, if I recall correctly from the movie?
Yeah, and some kind of metallic
it's liquid
metallic,
metal,
a metallic rubber that they put on his head because it goes all the way around his head.
Yeah.
And I think if somebody put in the effort to cosplay for this, I think it would be a really great thing. Because you can just get some like pads and stuff, spray paint it with a nice silver tinge, get a metallic leg. He's kind of got like a half Edward Elric going on here with his arm and his leg.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely choose Jason X.
Okay. And any other little facts you want to say about the other Jasons? Like, I know for a fact that my personal one is Part 8.
Yeah,
and
Jason Takes Manhattan.
And I know that I know he's not the most favorite by any means.
He's not the strongest.
And he's not the strongest, but he's also not the the most favorite in this series, because apparently, from what I've understood and gone about, is Part 8's not the most fan liked.
Not many people like Jason Takes Manhattan. Some parts of it don't make sense. Like him being in Crystal Lake and somehow on a boat going through the waters of a fucking boat to get to a bigger yacht to go to the waters of New York, because apparently water from New York goes to Camp Crystal Lake.
But yeah, so
But in
the thing
statistics, if you see where Camp Crystal Lake is, it connects to no stream of water to the ocean whatsoever.
Yeah, right. So that's something. And then on top of that, though, like the ending, right? The ending doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yes, he turns into a kid when he's hit with some like mutated acid or some waste. He turns into a kid, then lightning strikes his body. He turns into a little kid, and that's supposed to like get rid of the curse of Jason Voorhees.
Okay, so I think like the general consensus though is, or sorry, from what I understand, you and I talked about for the longest time, is that the party was supposed to be the end, right? Like
Party was supposed to be the end, and then New Line Cinema said, you know what? Or no, Paramount said they didn't want to do any more Jason movies, and then New Line Cinema says, here, here's money, give us your franchise. So they made Jason Goes to Hell, then they made Jason X, and then a couple years after Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, because New Line Cinema owns Freddy, and at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, you see Freddy grabbing Jason's mask, which is part 9 over here. He takes his mask and drags it under to hell to give to Jason or whatever.
Or to do whatever it ends up being.
Freddy vs. Jason, basically.
Yeah. So look, just one quick fact before we go. Then is so this one is the first, you said, New Line Cinema, right?
Yep, this is the first look of New Line Cinema's look on Jason.
Okay, so quickly, just go over like what do you think of that then? Since it's no longer being made by Paramount and by Sean Cunningham, I believe it's called.
No, Sean Cunningham still had something to do with Jason Goes to Hell.
Did he? Are you
sure?
sure?
I think he was an exclusive producer.
Executive producer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So regardless, though, you and I have watched it together, and we've kind of went through different things about it.
It's definitely not the greatest.
Do you think? Well, I mean, I was going to say, as a fan from your perspective, that's much bigger than I. Is it like, is the movie okay, or would you say it's not very good, or because I know that we talked about the whole Necronomicon thing, how they threw Jason into this weird Necronomicon that the house shows up
out of nowhere.
Yeah, like from your perspective, like, is it actually any good?
Really? I'd say out of 10, I'd have to give it a solid 5.
So why is that?
The kills are good. I like the fact that they threw Jason's own hometown into it. That he's got a half sister that really just came out of nowhere. It's a little interesting, and I like the badass known as Creighton Duke in this movie, who just likes to snap people's fingers to give information. And the look of Jason is great. He's clearly in his 40s. He's a little bit older, as you can see. Like, he's taller. And his hockey mask is literally, like, strapped right to his face. Like, his face is just, like, grabbing onto the mask, and it's, like, just there now, a part of him.
Right.
And the fact you can see all the bones and such from his hand.
So, yeah, so you'd say it's not bad, but it's not great.
Like I said, it's a solid 5, so it's not good, it's not bad, it's just... It was what it was. I just didn't like the Necronomicon thing. That Jason turns into some kind of hell beast. Yeah, and he starts inhabiting bodies, if I recall correctly. Inhabiting bodies and something stupid like that.
So, from your perspective, your opinion, then I should say, would you say that the series should have ended with 8?
That's the thing with fans; they always want. You always leave them wanting more. But the thing is, more can come with a negativity.
Yes. Well, I mean, part 8 to part 9, right?
Yeah.
For example?
Part 9, it can just only get stupid, but considering what Jason X was, people thought it was stupid, but it's actually a good movie. It's popcorn entertainment.
Yeah.
I wasn't much of a fan of Jason Goes to Hell, but Jason X really restored what Jason could be in the future of, like, 400 years, 500 years into the future and still carry the terror with him.
Yeah.
But I hope someday they actually do make a movie with Savini Jason.
That'd be cool. That would be absolutely... I mean, he spent so much time designing it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So since I know that there's like 3 or 4 different end spots, right? There's part 4 where it's supposed to end. There was part 8 where it was supposed to end. and technically part 9 is technically where it's supposed to end.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your opinion, where should it have ended?
I think Jason Takes Manhattan should have ended because at the end, he was just a little dead kid's body. His curse was supposed to be released, and that should have been the end of it.
Right, so that's... So
8 movies seems like it was fair to go on anymore. It would have just gotten dumb.
Okay, so then part 4, you'd say probably should have been named something a little different, right?
Because
I realized that at the time it was supposed to be the end, and that's why it's named the final chapter.
Well, most people don't know it says Friday the 13th, the final chapter. The final chapter is 4 different stories with Jason Voorhees. Part 1 was his mother. Part 2, 3, and 4 was Jason himself. And the final chapter was him actually dying, being dead, put into a grave, put to the end of it, until then we started following the story of Tommy Jarvis, where he was slowly going insane because he had to deal with Jason at like 12 years old, dealing with a grown killer killing off his mother, friends, and such. And as soon as it just got to more to Tommy Jarvis's story, we got 2 movies with Tommy Jarvis's story, which is A New Beginning and Part 6, Jason Lives. Jason Lives is just like, let's just bring back Jason like 20 years later-ish. And yeah.
So part 6 is part 6, right?
Look at that friggin' eye.
Yeah. So how does part 5 fit into that thing? Because it's not Jason. It's a guy who a copycat, as you said before, and that's not unheard of before. But
yeah.
So how really does part 5 fit into this franchise as a franchise? Because it's not Jason. Like why is it there really?
Well, I think the developers just threw him in there just because I think fans would have really been surprised to see Roy Burns in the game as a Jason, but not as a real Jason.
Mm-hmm.
But just to add that costume as a copycat killer, because nobody else in the movies kind of did that, dressed up as Jason and started killing people until what happens in that movie. I don't want to go through a full movie review. That'll come someday.
But so referring to the movies though, do you really think that part 5 needed to be there at all? Because
it was a good filler for Tommy Jarvis to tell his story about Jason. And if you listen to the Tommy tapes, when you collect them all in the game, it'll tell the story of Tommy Jarvis that Jason is like in his mind, or he's becoming Jason because stuff like this keeps happening. Like Jason keeps coming back from the dead and killing people, or someone's dressing up as Jason killing people. He gets the feeling that he's Jason, that he's responsible for everyone dying because he's the one who killed Jason. And he thinks he's slowly becoming Jason. And so he just says, screw it, I'm going to Jason's grave in part 6. I'm going to cremate it, burn it, turn it to ashes, and put it to bed. Let alone
which we know obviously doesn't happen.
Because Jason got speared by Tommy with this freaking huge rod and stabbed Jason's dead body with it. Because after all the stuff Jason caused him, he decided to stab him some more after chopping up his head. And he got hit by lightning, and then he rose up from the grave. Hence, Jason Lives.
Okay. So you would say then part 5 is kind of not
necessarily
important?
Not necessarily needed, but
it's there.
It was probably filler because they were also busy making this movie too.
Okay, so it's basically it's there. Is what you're saying. It's
like a Bleach filler.
Okay, well, filler is filler, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's probably good. Thank you for joining me on this. I definitely appreciate the insight. I've never heard some of this, obviously, because this is my first foray into anything horror.
Yeah.
So it's actually great. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. I'll have some links and stuff in the description below.
And subscribe to my channel. It will be in the description below
as well. And I will see you guys next time.